Meow. It's so confusing sometimes to be a meow.
This will be the least listened to episode. I'm Haley Griswold.
And I'm Jake Deaton.
And this is The Lost Lore. You never told me that. Hello.
Meow.
Meow. Meow. Wait, it's like ciao, but meow. That's how I'm saying
It's hello and goodbye.
Bonjour. Meow.
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 Meow. Lucky episode number 7.
7.
And so I figured today we should talk about the thing that makes us feel the luckiest of all. Our cats. You have 2 cats.
I do.
I have 1 cat.
Mm-hmm.
It's no shock that you have cats.
When
me
you
having
told
a cat.
me that you were going to get a cat, I thought you were pranking me.
You thought it was
I thought it was a
complete joke, right?
Yeah. I like out of left field.
It's one of those where I think if a younger version of myself saw my life presently, a lot would make sense. But that would not make sense.
Did you ever have a cat growing up?
When I got my cat, I had a recovered memory that I did have cats as a child. I lived in the woods growing up, and an outside cat had a bunch of kittens. And I remember I had them all in like a little box, and I had like 6 or 7 cats that I loved. They all had names. And then...
And all had heartworms.
Probably. And then one morning I woke up and they were gone. And I spent all of my childhood and like teenage years and then early adulthood
Searching for them.
Not...
We're still looking.
I still see her when I close my eyes. I never was like a huge cat hater. I just was
You had dogs,
I was
right?
No. I
No?
didn't have pets growing up, really.
Wow.
No. I never had pets. My Nana had a couple of dogs, but they were like little dogs, and she always named them human names. She had like a Yorkie named Rachel. And then
If someone said to me, "Oh, I'm picking up Rachel's shit," I would be like, "Oh,
what
happened?"
Rough night. And then her most recent dog was Harley, which is my name, with a hard R. So there are these little dogs. So they're similar to cats, but they're dogs.
Big difference.
Big difference. I mean, size-wise, the most familiar dog I was around was like a cat-sized dog, like a little
Did
Yorkie.
my cats inspire you to get cats?
It's so funny that you were the last inspiration to get cats for me. You have Elfie and Fiero.
And I just want to say, these were their names before the Wicked movie. I named them after the musical back before it was cool. I was on the ground floor. And now I know everyone who meets me in like 10 years or in 30 years, because they're immortal, are going to be like, "Oh, did you name them for the movie?" No, I named them for the musical.
Right.
I got Elfie when I was playing some 4D chess with my husband, which I love to do. I love a mind game.
I know you do.
And so in front of a friend was like, "Matt's not the best gift giver. You know, I love him, but it's just not his forte." And I didn't say it in a mean way or a judgmental way, more of a matter-of-fact way. When you want something from your spouse, the path is not giving them like real, like harsh feedback. It's more like, "Oh yeah, Matt's just not any good at giving gifts. That's fine. It's not his thing. Like, I love other parts of him." No better way to secure the bag, to secure an amazing gift. I was like, "Matt's not the best gift giver." And then I started dropping hints that I really wanted a cat. And so, 4D chess. That year for Christmas, he got me Elfie. And I remember going to PetSmart to see her for the first time, and Matt was so adamant. He was like, "We need to look around, like, and look at cats." I saw her through the glass, and I was like, "That's my cat. That's my cat. That's my cat." And we held her and played with her. And I remember I wanted a magical name for her. And so I was like in the Harry Potter wheelhouse, and I was like, "Hermione, that's so many syllables. Like, I need something a little more concise." And it was actually Matt's idea. He was like, "Have you thought of a name from Wicked?" And then I was like, "It's Elfie. Elfie." And it suits, wouldn't you say it suits her? Can we get an image of Elfie on the screen?
It suits her.
She's just a little girl.
So well.
And my second cat, Fiero, we always knew that we wanted to add like a Fiero to the family to kind of be on theme. And he was actually found in my hometown in a cat carrier outside a post office in winter. And he was, I think, like 6 weeks old at the time, like fit in the palm of your hand, tiny. And I remember when we first got him, like maybe day 2, I went into the room where we were keeping him, because you have to keep them separate. Cats don't automatically acclimate to one another. And his butt had this huge red thing on it, and I was like, "That looks weird. Like, what's going on with his butt?" And I called the vet, and I was like, "There's like this huge red, like cyst looking thing on his butt." And the vet was like, "Oh, his anus prolapsed." And I was like, "The gays had to get the cat whose anus prolapsed. That feels vaguely homophobic. Like,
what is the universe telling you?
And I was like, oh, will it like go back in? And they were like, this is actually an extreme medical emergency and you need to bring him to the emergency vet right now. And so you know how I am in a crisis. Level-headed, calm. Probably not the words would be used to describe how I respond. We'd had this cat for all of like 2 days. He's sitting over here, by the way. And I'm sobbing, screaming like he's going to die. He's going to have his butt amputated. I don't even know what that would entail. But we got him to the vet. They put his butt back in. We came home, exhausted. This is at like, by now it's like 2 a.m. We were at the vet forever. And then I go like to bed and then I go to check on him before I go to sleep. The anus is back out. The anus is completely back out of his butt.
My God.
So back to the emergency vet we go. They had to put in a stitch that stitched his anus like to his body to keep it in. He couldn't poop, didn't poop for days. Eventually he had this giant piece of, this is so gross.
I know, this is how we're starting the episode.
Hanging out of his ass. He was like rubbing it all over everything. Really, really traumatic start to Fiero's life. But now we're a happy family with 2 very healthy cats.
So it's funny hearing all of that, your PetSmart cat, your foster cat who almost died of several anal prolapsings, and then asking if they were the inspiration for me getting my cat. Because actually the inspiration for me getting my cat was whenever I met a full Maine Coon. I was babysitting and they had just gotten a cat. And this cat, you've seen a Maine Coon.
They're huge. They're probably as big as you.
But she was a kitten. And she was so cute. I fell in love with her instantly. And it was almost as though I was seeing a cat for the first time. And to me, like a Maine Coon, was no different than Elfie from PetSmart. I didn't have a clue. So I was like, oh, perfect. Like, we should get a Maine Coon. So I start looking at Maine Coons and they're like, no problem. Just give us $10,000. And I was like,
they're that much?
What? They're several $1,000s.
Jeez Louise.
So I started looking at all of these adoption sites, trying to find a cat that I loved. And I was looking for Maine Coons. I wanted a fuzzy, soft, perfect, cloud-like cat. And I found one.
I remember this.
I found one. Her name was Crystal. She was a Maine Coon Siamese mix.
She was gorgeous.
Blue eyes. So cute. I was obsessed with her. I needed her.
And you went from literally 0 to 100.
0 to 100.
Like,
I went from...
You texted me one day and was like, I'm getting a cat.
I'm getting a
cat.
cat.
I was like...
What?
What?
I saw this cat and I was like, I'm getting her. This is my cat. I'm going to get her. I messaged the adoption agency. I have my boyfriend message the adoption agency.
Hounded, I think is a better word.
Hounded is the word. I was harassing them. They were not responding. They were not saying anything. And then 2 days later, they posted a photo of her on their adoption Facebook. And I was like, no, that's my cat. Don't offer her up to the rest of the world. I was like, I'm going to need to take matters into my own hands. So I wrote a little something that embellished pieces
Just
of
slightly.
my life and Davis's life. I'll read it to you. As I pull this up to read it, I do want to say, I don't want to get into the ethics if this was right, okay? What would you do for your soulmate? Let's ask that. All right. So I just wrote. I just commented. I believe it is fate for me to adopt this cat! ! My grandmother had cats who looked so much like Crystal when I was growing up. You remember Rachel and Harley? My best childhood memories are with my grandma and those cats. This cat feels like a sign from her, since my grandma's name was Crystal.
Was your grandma's name Crystal? Let's tell the audience.
Her name's Phyllis.
I can't believe you did this. This is real. This is completely not made up. I watched this happen in real time.
They, who had been ignoring me for days, got back instantly. They're like, unfortunately, Crystal's foster mom wants to keep her.
And then you sent a suicide note.
Yes. I was like, this can't be it. I was sobbing. I was upset. I think I called you and I said, what's the point?
And you were like, I will never have a cat. This was it.
I did. I said I would never have a cat. When they were sort of ghosting me, I did keep looking. Maybe a few hours before they ultimately rejected me, I had sent one cat to Davis and said, she's kind of cute.
And she was gorgeous.
I would go so far as to say she makes Crystal look like a dish towel. Right?
Yes.
Her name was Minthara.
Minthara. Her name is Minthara.
Her name is Minthara. Her name was Minthara. Davis and I went and we met her. And we picked her up 2 hours later. I fell in love.
You did.
And I am in love with this. Her name, we call her MJ because she was 2 when we got her. Her name was Minthara. Weird ass name. Weird ass name. Weird ass name. Minthara, weird name.
I love Minthara.
And we were like, she's 2.
All the Mintharas are in the comments right now.
My cat learned to type. No one has that damn name. And so we wanted to give her an M name because Minthara, we like just
honor her history.
And we wanted to honor her history. And so, but we couldn't think of anything. And then one day I just said MJ, and Davis never stopped calling her that. And so it stands for all kinds of things, but primarily Minthara Jane. But her full name is Minthara Jane Miss Meow Meow Meowie Griswold McKinney, with a few extras in there as well.
Well, I also love that you modify her name as needed. Like when she's hungry, Davis calls her Minstarva. Yes. That made me laugh. Davis also calls my son Hinthara. Like
Hinthara.
Henry Hinthara.
Yes.
I called him that this afternoon without even thinking about it.
We're so obsessed with our cat that she has bled into the fabric of our life
obsessed.
everywhere.
And I'm obsessed with my cats too, but like you have a whole other...
I'm crazy.
Like, and the funny thing about Haley is that Haley is the alpha in every relationship that she has. In our relationship, you're the alpha. In your and Davis's relationship, you're like double alpha. Like complete, there's no question of who is like calling the shots. Minthara is the alpha in her relationship with you.
She is the alpha. And as you say, in 30 years, when I die, because I will die before her, I will never live a life without her. She will. Meow, 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 meow. And I never knew that I would be this person, but you are that person. I am this person.
Well, you won't even, like, one of the things I love about cats is that you can leave them alone. Like, you know, they're independent creatures. They do well by themselves. Haley and Davis will not stay at my house for more than 4 or 5 hours at a time because they miss the cat that much. And the whole time we're all together, it's also, they have the nanny cam up on the cat watching her. And Haley will show it to me and be like, do you think she looks sad? And I'm like, they can't express.
You know, I take MJ's schedule more seriously than Henry's. I'm like, Henry, who wakes up every
He'll
day.
Be fine.
You take him outside and he's like, oh my God, there's light. He's stunned. Meanwhile, the second the sun starts waving good morning to Earth, MJ is up. She comes over, she says, better warm up the stove. Mama's hungry. She's consistent. Her schedule is more important to me than any other part of my life. My cat schedule, 7 a.m. when she eats and 7 p.m. when she eats. Those are the important things.
I do find it relatable though, because the well-being of my cats is something that I'm thinking about constantly. I can like wear an ulcer in my stomach thinking about something bad happening to them, or them like, you know, getting into the inside of the house. I have all these crazy conspiracy theories of like how they're going to get hurt. And once I was hosting a bachelor party at my house for a friend, and you know, had a bunch of people in my house. Like all the bedrooms were full with multiple people. All the couches were covered in people. Somebody took a shower. And normal thing, I'm not going to blame them. They left a window open to let the steam air out. But when you're a crazy cat person, you never do things like that because you are always thinking of the cats. Like all of my thoughts swirl around them. Like today I had someone come work on a pipe and my first thought was like, where are they going to be? What are they going to be doing? Like, how am I going to ensure their safety?
I hate doing dishes, but since I got my cat, I am meticulous about the dishes. I will not leave a dish in the sink if we're leaving the house because I'm like, what if she
gets sick?
Or what if she grabs a knife and stabs herself? I'm like so crazy. I mean, I'm like, no, there's no way. I'm like, what if she gives herself a haircut with the kitchen scissors that are in the sink? I am insane.
You have child locks on the drawers.
On it all. I'm serious. Okay, so someone open the window.
And my one cat, Fiero, who's asleep over here, is dumb, so stupid, such an idiot, like just like so easy to trick. Have you ever done that test where you put a cat toward the wall and if they like put their hands out to stop themselves from colliding with the wall, they're smart, and if they just they're dumb, like squish against the wall? Elfie immediately stuck both hands out stopped herself from colliding. Fierro just went face first straight into the
Concussion.
wall. But another trip to the emergency vet. But
Poor guy.
He's dumb. But he's also mischievous and adventurous and loves being where he's not supposed to be. But he loves people. He's like a dog. Like, he's not skittish. He loves to be picked up. He loves to be messed with. And I realized I hadn't seen him in about half an hour. And I was like, there are all these people in my house. This is his dream. He loves to be like part of the party. I'm like, where is he? And so I started calling for him and he didn't come, which is also unusual. The one word he knows is his freaking name. And I started shaking the food bag because he's very food motivated. Still no showing up. And at this point, I'm like, did one of these fuckers let my cat out of the house? Because, I mean, I go straight to crazy. I'm like, he's not sleeping. Something has gone horribly awry because my level of anxiety about their well-being is generally so high.
Of course.
And I just was like, I'm just going to step outside and shake the food bag. And I shook the bag out in my backyard and I just hear, meow. And I was like, felt my blood go cold. And I couldn't tell where it was coming from. And I shook it again and I heard it again. And it was somewhere up above me. And I look up and I see him sitting on the slanted roof. And immediately, I mean, there are moments where sometimes I'm like, if someone called me and told me that a close loved one died, would I be numb or would I burst into tears? Like, I don't know. That's a good question. Like, sometimes you're just so shocked that you don't react. I burst into tears. No delay. I was like, Pharaoh! 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 Like sobbing. I just scared him. Running up the house, ripping like on all fours on the stairs, like as fast as possible. He came straight back in through the window. And I had to come gather everyone in the room. I was like, hey guys, just a quick little PSA. Don't open the fucking windows.
Hey y'all, I know we are living in strange and unusual times, so no pressure at all, but we would love for you to consider subscribing to our Patreon for exclusive bonus content, including tons of pictures of our cats this episode, and full-length video episodes. If you can't subscribe, you can still help us out by giving the show a 5-star review wherever you listen, and by following us on Spotify, TikTok, and Instagram. Anything you do helps us feed our cats, and we love you for it. Now, I know you love both of the cats, but Elfie is your girl.
My soul cat.
She's your soul cat.
She's the cat of my heart and my soul. And like, that proved to me how much I loved Fierro, how much I freaked out. But when I talk about just like crashing out, just like imagining something, it's irrational because it'll never happen. She's immortal. But when I imagine something bad happening to Elfie, I can like conjure tears immediately. And just like, we're best friends. Like, she follows me everywhere. We have a routine. In the morning, we have rug time. She loves when I get out of the shower because I'm a little damp. I think she thinks of it as like getting groomed by a mama cat because I'm a little wet, while I pet her. And she always waits for me at the shower. And then we walk to the rug and she'll go, meow. And then I'll start petting her.
Elfie is scrappy, smart, hungry young woman. Fierro is dumb, friendly, silly.
I see him as like a little boy, and Elfie is a glamorous older woman.
If cats are like their parents, Fierro is you.
I know.
Overly friendly. He is so curious about every single person who comes through that door.
No sense of danger.
That's his friend. That's my buddy. He's in everybody's business as though it's his business. He is so nosy. He's a cat, so naturally clean, but just like you.
A little smelly.
Something a little dirty about him. He's just like his daddy. Yes.
Do you think Minthara is more like you or Davis?
There was a time in the fabric of the universe in which there was this gorgeous big quilt that had been stitched, and they just cut right down the seam to make me and MJ. We are of the same exact pattern, stitching, makeup, fabric.
You both hate when Davis touches you too much.
She is like...
I have peace in my heart that if Elfie was sick, people ask me all the time, they're like, what would you pay to save her life? The cost.
The cost.
The cost.
The cost.
I have no stress about that because I'm like, doesn't matter.
No.
I'll figure it out.
And I'm very lucky that Davis is as crazy as me. Mm-hmm. He is as in love with...
Are we still talking about cats?
He loves this cat so much. We are both insane.
He loves this cat so much. Oh, MJ.
We have not sang a song with the right lyrics since this cat entered our lives. You know Kendrick Lamar. They not like Meow. They not like Meow. They not like Meow. This is a new one. 'Cause I'm too fluffy. And then you shave me clean.
Also, side note, Haley is like a freestyle rapper. All the time, she sings songs. She does it to Henry, too. And they rhyme. Like, she'll rewrite a song in the moment, and it works. It's
I
like
loved
really
it.
good.
It's my favorite thing to do. You want to do our favorite one?
Yes.
Okay.
Meow. It's so confusing sometimes to be a meow.
Look at us both in our merch. We both own, we love our cats.
And that, to me, loving an animal like that was not something that like existed in my family growing up. Like,
Okay, so you didn't have animals either.
We did, but in my like growing up, I grew up in rural Appalachia, and I feel like culturally, this has changed some, but I feel like culturally, animals were always seen as like not necessarily part of the family, more like we work on a farm. The dog has a utility on the farm. The cat, you know, is killing the mice in the barn. Like it, and like you may bond with them, but like my dad talks about like how they would raise a pig every year. They'd name it, they'd bond with it, they'd keep it in the house, and then put one between its eyes and eat it. I could never do that.
That's crazy.
I know.
That is
It's
crazy.
nuts.
That's fucking nuts.
Right? But that's sort of the mentality that my parents had about even domestic pets. Like, it was like everything is indoor, outdoor, which I know a lot of people, there are a lot of thoughts on that. But it's like, so the animals die. They get hit by cars. They get killed by other animals.
Every person that I've met from your town who has a cat.
Indoor, outdoor.
Indoor, outdoor.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
has some horrible
stories.
About a coyote or about a
Exactly. And
car.
so you get a little less attached because you know every time that the cat goes out, you may never see them again. And that was sort of like my experience as a child. And my parents, I always love like how obsessed I've become with my personal cats. And then like my brother is the same way. He has a cat and moved to England. And to get this cat to England in the middle of the pandemic, he had to pay, I think it was tens of thousands of dollars. Because, get this, so the cat, because of all the restrictions, and one, you're moving countries, so you don't want to bring in like diseases and stuff, but because of the pandemic, it was extra strict. Their cat had to be on its own flight, where someone, like a courier, is that the word, took it by itself, flew that cat to Amsterdam separately from my brother and his wife, who flew to straight to the UK. The cat had to stay the night in a hotel in Amsterdam with this person by itself, like with this helper.
It ran into Taylor Swift's cats.
Exactly. Yeah, it went to the Eras tour. But
That's crazy.
And then this person had to take the cat on the train into the UK. Over $10,000 all like end to end. And my mom, I remember her being like, aren't there cats in England?
Whereas you and I are, it's like, it's the same thing.
I'd be like, I'd pay $100,000.
It's what you said before. I'll pay what it costs.
Yeah. But the funny thing is my parents have changed. They now have an indoor only cat because we had bad experiences with indoor outdoor animals. And then my little brother, who is much younger than me. I have a little brother who is 16 years younger than me and has had like a very different childhood just for the nature of my parents being older and like, you know, having raised children.
It is this interesting thing about how like no matter how close you are in age, we all have different parents.
Yeah.
But that's a whole
big difference.
Yeah.
And it has softened my parents in so many ways. And they have a cat now, Jerry. My brother's named Ben, so they're Ben and Jerry. And
that is so cute. I'm just putting that together because, of course, I know Jerry. Because
you know Jerry. We're in a group chat.
We're in a group chat
with my brother Ben, where we send
we
pictures. We should send a picture of that tonight.
Cat pictures.
But the
and Jerry and your brother loves Jerry.
He does. He loves. But now, so my parents do too. My dad and mom are so obsessed with that cat. My mom was visiting me this week, and I was like, "If you moved to England, would you pay $10,000 to get Jerry there?" And she hesitated for a second. She said, "Yeah."
I'd sell the house.
So it is nice to see that sort of come full circle for them too.
That's
they
cute.
like love that cat.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
I meant to say earlier, when we got MJ, we picked her up near Howard University. So she did go to Meoward. She is a graduate of
Meoward University.
Yes. With the highest
Her and
degree.
Kamala Meowis.
Wait. Meow Harris.
Harris? Stop. That's funny.
MJ knows how to sit. MJ knows how to fist bump. MJ knows how to jump through a hoop.
She's trained.
She is a smart cookie.
Take my hand.
Okay.
We got to be brave. We can't talk about cats without doing a little cats versus dogs. Now, I know that people have strong opinions about this, and we're going to be sensitive. Many of my friends have dogs. Many of my friends love dogs. But there ain't no competition.
Not even a little bit of competition. And by the way, I know he said we were going to be very sensitive, but my toes are crossed. I'll try.
I get why people love dogs. They do give you things that cats do not. But to me, the strength of a cat is that they make you work for it a little. I dated a lot of dogs in college. I dated a lot of very attentive, very affectionate, very loving, wanted a lot of, like one-on-one time. And I just hated it. Who's going to buy the cow if you're selling the milk for free? And I've always said that.
Yeah.
But Matt, my husband, is a cat.
Matt met you and was like, I'll stay in the sun.
And I grabbed him like, love me! And
of course.
It's still our relationship. When your cat comes and sits on you or lays next to you, you're like, you love me. This isn't just that you have this kind of like
codependency, Pavlovian, like you're, yeah.
Dogs love attention. Dogs, my best friend's dog would come up and, well, my best friend doesn't have a dog, but my friend's dog would come up and just like treat me the same way they treat my friend. I don't want that.
No.
I don't want that.
No.
I want my cat to hiss and hide and spit and hate. And then when the stranger leaves, come to daddy.
That's what I want to. Exactly. If MJ came up and just started licking you, I would be like, what the hell?
And I love dogs. Let's be clear. I understand why people love dogs. I'm not...
He actually hates dogs.
Shut up. But I get why dogs are so popular, and I get why people love them.
People would say you should have a dog. Like, you pay enough attention to your cat to have a dog. Like, you.
But it's not the same.
It's not the same.
I want to have a little bit of, what'd you do today?
I know MJ is okay at home while we're filming this.
She's probably happy.
She's
like
having
alone
a
at
great time.
last.
At last. I love when
Which,
I have
again... relatable.
Exactly.
I relate to that.
I completely relate to that.
When Davis and Haley leave this house after we record, I'm like, oh, finally.
You don't want to know what we say when you leave.
But that's, I like that. I like that it's not so easy. I like that it feels like you have to really work for it.
Yes.
Like how you built your relationship with Elfie. She didn't give it away.
No, she did not.
Like, you earned that,
and
brick by brick.
Now, as much as we're friends, her ass still scurries when I arrive and waits a couple hours before she comes and says, "Oh, you're still here."
I like that about them.
I do too. You know what else I love? I'm sorry. We love dogs. We love dogs. We love when they put their snouts in our crotches as soon as we enter your home and we haven't even been able to take our shoes off.
When they jump up on me with their muddy paws.
Yes,
and lick my
I love
face.
the way it feels with their nose up my ass crack. It's awesome.
I only want that at a certain mood and not with dogs.
The thing that we have most in common with cats is that it is literally in their DNA to relax.
Oh, yes.
They are literally made to relax. That's how I know that
we would be a cat.
I would be a cat.
Yeah.
I am a cat. That's also like when we talk about MJ, it's like I get her. She gets me in such a way, and it starts with the relaxation.
Anywhere.
Oh yeah.
Nice little piece of sun.
Yes. Oh, the sun. Oh, I love when they lay in the sun. It's so cute. That's how I feel. I'm just like, there it is, the warm sun. It's so
simple pleasures.
And I feel connected to all the people who lived before me who loved their cat. Like, I feel connected.
When I see photos of people with cats in the past.
When you see fossils of people buried with their cats, it's like I feel connected to my humanity in this way of like, if someone from 10,000 years ago came to life today, they would probably just immediately have a seizure and die. But if you showed them a cat, they might be like,
they might see something they knew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so there is this just living
what it is to be alive.
What it is to be alive. And like, I just value so much the depth that she has given me that goes beyond just like my own personal ability to love and care for something, but also just like humanity's ability to love and care for something. I know that sounds
it's beautiful.
So...
Well, think about the fact that we have like these animals living in our homes.
I know.
Like, and we love each other and they love us.
Each other.
Like it's a communal bond of like, they want to be near us. They want to, it's like really beautiful. Do you know my first kind of like experience with cats?
No.
Like you mentioned finding the cats in the box.
Yeah.
So my granny, who was my great grandmother, we have these tight little generations in rural Appalachia.
I have to say, not to cut you off here, Granny is one of my favorite of all the names you can call a grandmother.
It's the best.
Like we've got Meow, I had a Nana. Mamaw. But Granny.
They're just
classic. So classic. I love it.
I had a Granny and a Pappy. You knew Pappy.
Wait, seriously? No, we can't even get into it.
Pappy needs his own
Pappy
episode.
Gets a full episode because of what he meant to me.
So my granny raised me, like my great grandmother. she died when I was in 4th grade, but my whole childhood like was at her house. While my parents worked, they were getting their degrees, their master's degrees. My granny kept us, and so we spent a lot of time there. And my granny was a Southern Appalachian woman, crazy as hell, just crazy.
Give an example.
She would tell my grandpa, so her daughter's husband, she'd be like, she called my grandma Tootie. She'd be like, I hope me and Tootie die together. What sort of mother tells?
What would she tell you every day when you'd leave her house? Because you were there every day.
Every day. She'd be like, this is the last time you'll ever see Granny. Say goodbye, honey. This is the last
every
time.
day you were saying bye to her for the last
I'll miss you.
time.
I'll wait for you in heaven. Like every day. And I would go home and be like, my granny's going to die tonight. And that's what she wanted. She was emotionally manipulating us into like loving her more. And it worked. Yeah, what'd
Granny,
you say about... love your girl. I can't wait to see you up there.
Yeah, what'd you say about manipulating Matt? How much you love a mind game?
I learned from the best.
You learned from your granny.
And she was a true Southern woman. She had like a 5th grade education, but smart as a whip. You know, she had to come home and help like tend to the house, and different time. And she lived on this like little single wide trailer that they built up, and sort of my grandparents had helped them like add some rooms and stuff, and like they like anchored it into the ground. And they had a lot of land, and on this land was a feral cat colony. Which, have you ever encountered one of these? I follow a couple of creators online who like make content about cat colonies. And so, you know, people say cats aren't social animals. They are. They live in these colonies where it's like they may hunt individually, but they want the protection of the other cats. And she probably at one time had 20 or 30 cats living on her land, and feral cats. They would have kittens, and we would find them very similar. Like we'd find them hidden in places, like in bushes, and, you know, we'd name them and pick them out. But the adult cats, my brother and I lived to chase and catch. And these were not friendly cats. And we named them all. And I remember there was one that we loved that we named Nosy. He was our favorite. And he would sometimes let us pet him, but was not friendly. And we would chase him, and Nosy would scratch the shit out of us. I would come home from my granny's house covered in open wounds. And these are cats that live exclusively outdoors. Never go inside, never have been to the vet. Full of heartworms, full of problems, you know, riddled with disease.
They were bobcats.
Yeah, like my skin's in shreds. Like, hi, Mom.
You said your game mangled.
But, I mean, we would be covered in scratches. And my granny, bless her soul, knew that the cats weren't the cleanest. And so she would sick us loose. She'd be like, have fun, boys, chase the cats. You know, good old Southern upbringing. She was also the sort of woman, when we get in trouble, she'd go tell us to pick our switch, and we'd have to go pick the switch off the tree. And if we didn't pick a big enough, she'd say, if you don't pick a big enough one, Granny will pick it. So we had to make sure that we didn't get like a little flimsy switch.
When I had to go pick a switch, I would walk so slow that I'm like,
maybe they'll forget.
They'll forget by the time I get back. She's really old.
But when we would get back in the house, she would take a big container of rubbing alcohol and pour it all over our open wounds. And gosh. So we would be sobbing, crying, like burning in pain. Where were we the next day?
Right back
there chasing Nosy.
In bed, paralyzed with pain, physically and emotional, like, hey, my grandma's gonna die.
And I'm covered in scratches and rubbing alcohol.
That's horrible.
Oh my God, it makes me yearn for a simpler life.
That's really funny and fucked up.
Love my granny so much. Shout out, girl.
Yeah,
miss you, Nail.
Yeah, I wish I could have met you, girl.
You would have loved her.
Let me not cry now. We are going to do a grandparents episode because you've heard from Jake's story about being out with Nosy, and you've heard about, you know, Rachel and Harley. Our grandmothers, funny, meant the world to us. Every childhood's made because of these women, and my grandpa's too. And your grandpa's. And so that will probably be our favorite episode that we ever do. Next? Yeah, maybe we should do that next time.
Yeah, a little teaser.
Forgot to tell you my confession, my major confession that I shared with you that made us want to do this episode to begin with, is that I have a collection.
Oh God.
I have this little box. It's a memory box, and if you open it up, because there's a beautiful little latch and there's a key, if you open it up, inside you'll find upwards of 100 of MJ's little claws. You know, cats shed
As they
their
shed,
claws.
yeah.
I find them and I just collect them so that then I have a variety of options if ever something does happen and her immortality fails and she has to be cloned. And for good measure, there are whiskers in there as well.
I love how much you guys act like this is a cute little hobby. This is like I'm in a horror movie. It's dark. The violins are like, "Ah!" and I'm like opening the box with shaking hands, being like, and then you appear behind me.
Put the box down. So, to close out, I sent you a tweet that I saw a couple of months ago.
I haven't read it.
No, don't even open it just yet. I'm gonna preface. Don't even look. Okay.
Haven't looked.
What? How religious would you say you are?
Not at all.
0%.
0.
All right, let's read it. All right, it's a video, and it says,
When you arrive in heaven, God says, someone's been waiting for you.
and it's a cat running down a gorgeous field.
Oh my God. I'm like, Granny, move! Come here, Pierre. Wait, we gotta show him before.
Show him.
Come here. Meow.
Meow.
I have tears in my eyes.
I know, it's the most beautiful thing. There's nothing more special than the love of a beautiful little feline. Thank you for tuning into The Lost Lore. We look forward to talking about our grandparents next time.
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
Love ya. Say the meow, 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 meow. Meow, meow, meow.